भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांता स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे। श्री भागवतम की जय।
Right.
प्रभुपाद की जय।
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Priyavrata Maharaj ki jai. So Priyavrata Maharaj is still in dilemma. You know the difference between Priyavrata Maharaj and us. We are usually pulled towards materialistic goals and have a hard time letting go, have a hard time prioritizing spirituality over other comforts. And Priyavrata is having the exact opposite problem here. So that's that Bhagavad Gita verse that says that what is day for the yogi is the night for the people who are materialists, and for the materialists, when it's daytime, for the yogi it's night. So party, life, that's when the yogi is sleeping peacefully. And when everybody is like tired after the party and everything, Brahma Muhurta, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, people are snoring peacefully. That's the time the yogi is up chanting, studying Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the duality of the material world. When we want happiness, we will find misery. And when we take up voluntarily austerities, then we actually find fulfillment. Some of us have found that, right? That the more we let go of our comfort zone, then we find fulfillment in the end. But the more we hang on to comfort zone, like imagine our kid, they don't want to go to school, they just want to stay home and watch video games. It's comfort zone for the kid. Then there's not going to be any advancement, no fulfillment, no achievements. Like that, different people have different comfort zones. Priyavrata Maharaj's comfort zone was, I don't want to be put at risk with this material responsibilities, right? And usually our thing is, I don't want the responsibilities to become spiritual and that I have to let go. Okay, so we stopped here and we're continuing from this page. Who likes to start reading? Please.
His activities do not entangle him in further births in the material world. Priyavrata shifted uneasily. If I become king, I will have to marry and accept household life. Surely this is harmful to one's spiritual progress. Brahma replied, if you are actually self-realized, you are both self-satisfied and in control of your senses. In which case, accepting a wife and becoming the emperor will not be a problem. If you are not self-satisfied and have uncontrolled senses, then even if you remain in the forest, you could fall down. Priyavrata's eyebrows raised. Really? Even here in my guru's ashram? Certainly, said Brahma. A person with uncontrolled mind and senses is like a man with 6 co-wives. Priyavrata smiled, imagining a man being pulled in 6 different directions by his demanding wives. Brahma had a point. There had been many elevated mystics who had fallen from the spiritual path just by hearing an apsara's ankle bells, smelling an attractive fragrance, or even by seeing two fish mating. Any of the senses can indeed distract an aspiring transcendentalist. He shivered at the thought. My lord, how can we protect ourselves from falling into material consciousness? Living as a brahmachari in the Guru's ashram trains one in the basic principles of renunciation, which are practiced and matured in household life. A person who follows the religious principles of married life is like a king in his fortress. From this position, he will conquer the powerful enemies of lust, greed, anger, and illusion. Once mature in his renunciation, he can again leave family life and live either as a vanaprastha or sannyas. The surprise was evident on Priyavrata's face. Married life will be a more secure fortress than my guru's ashram. Brahma's melodic and perfectly enunciated words again rang out, delighting their hearers. I was describing the path for an aspiring transcendentalist who is not yet mature in renunciation. It is a different matter for you. You have already taken full shelter of Krishna, whose feet are like lotuses. When a bumblebee enters the opening of a lotus flower and drinks its honey, the petals fully protect it. The bee is undisturbed by sunshine and other external influences. Similarly, when executing Krishna's command, Krishna shelters you. Therefore, on his order, accept the enjoyments of royal life and you will not fall into material consciousness, even amid worldly enjoyment.
If anybody who has any question or comment, just unmute and feel free.
Priyavrata bowed his head. You are the spiritual master of the entire universe, and you have removed my doubts. My lord, I will do as you say. Manu's face lit up with relief. He respectfully offered Brahma prayers of glorification and repeatedly prostrated himself before the god. Narada and Priyavrata watched in great happiness. Brahma offered them his blessings and then mounted his swan carrier and rose to the heavens. In the dimness of early evening, birds raucously sounded their night chorus, but neither Shukadev nor Parikrit noticed. The king was curious to know why Priyavrata had been reluctant to assume the throne. His disinterest in wealth and power was a sure sign of his high spiritual attainment. Parikrit asked Shukadeva, what had happened after Brahma had convinced Priyavrata to become the emperor. Shukadeva said, Swayambhuva Manu had become almost hopeless about Priyavrata returning with him because the great sage Narada had advised him to remain a brahmachari. Fortunately for him, Lord Brahma came and fulfilled his desire. After Brahma's visit, Narada gave Priyavrata his blessings to return to the capital and take up his responsibility for maintaining and protecting the earth. Once Priyavrata was installed on the throne, Swayambhuva retired from worldly life, which he felt was like a dangerous ocean of poison. Although Priyavrata had no attraction for family life, he accepted it to honor the order of Brahma and his father. However, although externally fully engaged in worldly affairs, internally he always meditated on Krishna. Parikit knew kings had to marry. Priyavrata could not have remained celibate and ruled the world. Governing the world was for householders, which meant accepting a wife. He asked who Priyavrata had married. Shukadeva said, he married Prajapati Vishwakarma's daughter, Barhismati, who bore him 10 sons equal to him in beauty, character, magnanimity, and all other virtues, and a daughter named Uljaswati. He gave his sons the 10 names of the fire god, Agnidhra, Idmajivha, Yagnabahu, Mahavira, Hiranyadrata, Gritapristha, Savana, Medatithi, Vitihotra, and Kavi. Kavi, Mahavira, and Savana were renounced from childhood and lived as celibates. Completely controlling their senses, they were renowned as great self-realized saints. From their earliest years, they forsook sense gratification and continuously meditated upon Krishna, who is known as Vasudev, the resting place of all jivas. He is the only refuge for those who fear material existence. By constantly remembering him, the three princes became pure devotees who could directly perceive the Lord in their hearts, realizing their qualitative oneness with him. The king had another wife in whom he begot 3 sons named Uttama, Tamasa, and Raivata. Later, they presided over the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Manvantara ages. While his sons practiced spiritual life, Priyavrata ruled the universe for 110 million years. Whenever he took up arms, the opponents of religion would flee in all directions, terrified of his unparalleled prowess. Although internally detached from worldly enjoyment, he appeared to be extraordinarily fond of Bharismati. With the passing of each day, their love seemed to increase. By her feminine behavior, she magnified his energy and he behaved like an ordinary henpecked husband. Still, his spiritual power never diminished. I shall describe an astonishing feat he achieved. During his reign, he became dissatisfied with the sun's orbit. For 6 months, the sun traveled on the northern side of Mount Sumeru, and for 6 months on the southern side. This created darkness for the side opposite the sun and Priyarata. Priyarata, for the benefit of the people, wanted to rectify that situation. He thus created a brilliant chariot which was like a second sun. Mounting it, he followed the sun's orbit on the opposite side of Sumeru, dissipating the darkness. Parikrit's eyes widened. You mean he became a second sun to light up the dark side of the world? How is that possible for any man? Shukadeva said. He could perform this superhuman task because of the mystic powers he had accrued by worshipping Krishna. Incredible! What else did he do? When he drove his chariot behind the sun, its wheels created trenches which became oceans dividing Bhumandala into 7 islands named Jambu, Plaksha, Shalmali, Kusha, Shaka, and Pushkara. Each is twice as large as the preceding one. The trenches filled with liquid substances, which became oceans separating the 7 islands. Parikit tried to grasp the enormity of this feat. It was almost unbelievable. How did he create successively larger oceans? He looked quizzically at Shukadeva, who explained that the monarch had used 7 different chariots, each with 1 wheel, which became progressively broader as he went further out. Shukadeva went on. The 7 oceans going outwards respectively contain salt water, sugarcane juice, liquor, ghee, milk, yogurt, and sweet drinking water. Each one is equal in breadth to the island it surrounds. Priyarata installed 7 of his sons as the king of each island. Later, King Priyarata arranged the marriage of his daughter Urjaswati to Shukracharya. They had 1 daughter together, Devaini. Parikrit sat in silent wonder. Priyakrita's achievements were quite incredible. Shukadeva could understand Parikit's mind. Such deeds are not surprising for Krishna's devotees, who can conquer the mind and senses.
Okay, let's pause here. Ooh, look at that. Ocean of sugarcane juice and liquor, we're not so interested. But ocean of ghee, man, you don't have to buy ghee from Amazon anymore. Milk, yogurt, and sweet drinking water. Ocean with sweet drinking water. Look at that. Who says devotees can't perform miracles, right? There was one of our Vaishnava acharyas, and in town there has been a mystic person who had arrived, and all the devotees, disciples were very excited, and then they came and told the Guru, oh, there is this mystic person, he's flying around in a broomstick, And the Guru says, it's not a big deal, just go do your sadhana. And then they went again, looked at the guy flying around, and they became very excited. And then they came back to the Guru. Guru Maharaj, you have to see this guy. Is so mystical. He's flying around with a broomstick. And the Guru again told him, it's not a big deal. Just go and chant your rounds. And then these guys couldn't stop, they kept raving about it. Oh, this guy is going around, flying around, in the broomstick. And then our Vaishnava Guru he was brushing his teeth with a little neem stick. He said, then he just took it out, he just put it between his legs, and then he started flying around the campus. And it just completely stunned everybody. They all opened their mouths wide. I'm like, what? And then he came down from the toothstick. He put it back in his mouth, started brushing, and he said, I told you it's not a big deal. Go and chant your rounds. I really love this incidents because, Srila Prabhupada, he had mystic powers. Bhaktisiddhanta had mystic powers. All our great acharyas have it. Just like the touchstone, no? For a devotee, even if it's a touchstone, you touch it, everything becomes gold. Anything you touch it to, it becomes gold, and this and that. And what does the devotee do? He just throws that in the garbage. And so what does he do? He picks up his bead bag, which is the ticket back to Godhead, and then just chants peacefully, right? Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakale Ashanta. So in that verse comes Siddhi also. The people who have Siddhi, if they have Siddhi to touch things and make gold, they want another Siddhi to walk on water. If they have Siddhi to walk on water, they want to be able to fly. If they have ability to fly, they want to become smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. There's no end to it, right? So they're always Ashanta. They're always not peaceful. They want to prove to the world that they are powerful or they are good, and then it's a struggle. The only struggle is when we are devotees of the Lord, because you know what, we don't care, like we're indifferent to the achievements of the material world, what people say, what people don't say. We don't want to prove anything to anybody. We just want to be a servant. We just want to be a instrument. And then when we want to just be an instrument, the Lord does amazing things through us. Like Prabhupada is such an elderly person. He just became an instrument in the Lord's hands, and the Lord said, I'll get everything done through you. And then people like, whoa, how did this man do that? And Prabhupada's like, I didn't do it. Krishna is doing it through me. So this is another example here that Krishna can do wonders through us. I often say to like preaching, now when we're doing preaching, the best way to be successful preachers is to get out of the way. Don't interfere with Krishna's plans. Just become an instrument. The Lord will work through you. But the minute we take control, we're getting in the way of the Lord's plans. Like that. I just remembered that. Any other comments, questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you elaborate it more? Like how not to come in, like you mean not to control things and all?
Yeah. See, the Lord has a plan, okay? The Lord knows who, for example, if we want to take example of parenting, the Lord has a plan how things are going to be. But if we try to control too much, this is how parents should, this is how the kids should perform at school. This is how they should, if we control it too much, I mean, we need to be there. We need to be there to facilitate the growth of our children. But if we become too controlling, we want things our way, we don't let the child be who the child is. Instead of being a support system, we become like a dictator or something. So what's happening there is Lord has a plan, but we are interfering with the Lord's plan instead of letting things be with the child. Okay, I mean, it's a thin line of balance there. We don't just sit there lazy, and if the kid is playing on video game all day, we don't let them do it thinking it's Krishna's plan, obviously. But also, you know what I mean by control. Sometimes our mind freaks out. We think that this is the way it should have been done. This is the way the kid should be, and it's not, and we're freaking out. We're trying to control things to make it the way we think it should be, but we are interfering with the Lord's plan. Similarly with preaching, the Lord has a plan. If we pray to the Lord, let me be an instrument or in your hands, then, everything develops amazingly, very organically. People become very interested. The heart changes, the heart transforms. Usually when we take control, we're taking control of the brain. But transformation doesn't happen from the brain, it happens from the heart. So we usually try to control external things, we try to control the behaviors, we try to control, we forget that we're just instruments. Nimitta matram bhava savya satyam, right? We forget that we are just instruments in the Lord's hands. And then when we take control, relationship goes south. I mean, I know one of my friend, excellent mother, very nice devotee, everything, they gave the best. When the kid turned, I don't remember what age, he kind of got little disinterested in Krishna consciousness, but they still tried to control. And then the kid just just left home and just wants to do its own thing. So sometimes too much control makes us not have any control. But if we just say Krishna, if we realize Krishna, actually I have no control, you have all the control, and we surrender to him, we actually parenting, preaching is a good example, because we are trying to convince the kid or whoever we are preaching to something, but we forget that we are not behaving surrendered, because we want our kids to be surrendered to us, right? But we are not surrendered to Krishna, we're not surrendered to our Guru or Prabhupada. we ourselves are struggling. So if we can only just be sattva guna, sattva guna of being an instrument. It's a very powerful analogy, to be an instrument. The instrument is not thinking, hey, look, I'm cutting so nicely, this sabji is so nice. Today I'm going to get so much praises. Nobody praises the knife, right? It's just doing its job. So if we can just be an instrument, then Krishna can do through us unlimited things. My husband often says, when you do something, there's only very limited things you can do. Very limited. How much can you do? But when you let the Lord do, there's no end to achievements, accomplishments, empowerment. There's no end to it, because you just become the flow of mercy goes through you, and then you're not anymore thinking me, mine. You just want the projects to be done, and then you'll see when people who are leading projects, who are not controllers, not micromanagers, those people's projects flourish because they empower others, they delegate, they don't control things, right? So
Yeah, thank you,
helps.
Mataji. Nice points. Yeah.
I mean, even in life, sometimes we want to control. We want to stay in this country. I want to get that particular job. Sometimes there's no need to put so much mental, emotional effort. Prabhupada says certain things, the kind of standard of living we live, it's not going to change so much. Wherever we are, that's going to be more or less that. So you don't need to invest too much energy in those areas, because usually when you do, I mean, here I'm coming to like human design, etc. There's something called human design. It's an astrological tool that we use to help people if they are unfulfilled in their careers, or how to use your bodily energy to be engaged in a way that's fulfilling for you. So in human design, there's something called generator. Usually generator people are large percentage, more than 60% of the population are generators. So they're not supposed to take initiative. So these people, when they take initiative, the project fails, disappoints them, it's just doesn't work out. But most people try that and it doesn't work out. But they're supposed to, what the generators are supposed to do is they're supposed to wait for invitation. They're supposed to wait for the gut feeling to tell them, okay, this is an invitation, somebody's calling me to come and do this particular project, let me see how that goes. Then it becomes very successful. Manifestors are only, I think, 7% of the population. Like Srila Prabhupada was a manifestor. Even though, he was a manifestor, look, his own business was quite struggle. He tried to initiate it in work. Of course, that was kind of messy. But manifestors are those who manifest things, but not everybody's a manifestor. We all want to be. But our body, the chakras or whatever you call it, astrological lines that are connected one with the other, the energy is not meant for that. So usually people don't succeed in careers when they try to become manifestor if they are a generator. So like that, there are 5 types: generator, manifestor, projector, manifesting generator, and reflector. So each person needs to make decision, whether it's marriage, whether it's job, whether it's parenting. There is a specific strength, and the specific area is flexible. So if we know how to use it, we will not be frustrated. And personally, for me, the human design, it's a way to figure out if you're aligned to Krishna's will. Because if you're aligned to Krishna's will, it's actually felt right in your body. When you're making a decision, your body actually literally responds, says do this or don't do this. We are so consumerism, we are so connected. Oh, we need this, I need that. We get into that and we get kind of swept off. And then we get into social pressures. No, this has to be done. My child has to perform in this way. And then we put pressure, and then usually there's a pressure points in the body also. So that breaks, and then we suffer health issues because we have gone against our nature, against the design of our body, literally against the design, human design. Everybody has a design. So when we don't follow that design, we get frustrated. We end up with nothing at the end because we have messed up with the body. So like that, about control, it's like that. And here we see that Priyavrata was very careful, right? Very cautious. and cautious, because right in the beginning he didn't say. Usually nowadays the political leaders, yes, I'm going to change the country, I'll do this, I'll do that, there's a lot of I. And you see, when they come to power, everything goes to hell basically. But then here Parikshit is, he's so humble, he's modest, he's like, I'm not sure, I don't want to do that. But then when he actually gets it, he is in that mood of, I'm just a servant, I'm just an instrument, I'm not the doer. But he acts like everything depends on him, but he surrenders like everything depends on the Lord. And in that mood of instrument, then he is able to achieve unlimited services, because it's in the mood of service. That one of our japa affirmations I love so much is that don't chant in the mood of an achiever, chant in the mood of a receiver. So even service is like that. If we try to go and do it in an achiever's mode, we will end up frustrated with people. Everything becomes frustrating. But if we go in the mood of a receiver, I have received this service, let me do this in the way the Lord wants it. Let me be the point is not being a good parent. The point is, let me align to Krishna's will. Let me facilitate this child's growth the way Krishna wants. Then you are the, what do you call it? The servant parent. Yeah. So anyway, where we went here, such deeds are not surprising for Krishna's devotees who can conquer the mind. Because the Krishna's devotee is not thinking me, mine, my child is better than others. They're not thinking in that way. Therefore, achievements happen through that. But the minute we start identifying and bodily attachment, then that's when the problem begins. So I'd like to go on. The discussion is very important. I have personally experienced in my own life, and I tried to take up projects and wanted to do this and have goals and this and that. It wasn't as fulfilling, not just fulfilling. It was depleting, it was draining, and the results were not exactly, I could see that it wasn't really Krishna's will. But then when it's Krishna's will, we can't be too rational thinking, no, but if it could be done that way, if it could be done this way. There's a thin line. We can't just be lazy, and we can't just think that I'm the doer. That's the thin balance for a devotee. Do our best. Externally, it should look like, oh my God, this person is doing everything in their power. But internally, we are aware that I have no control over any of these things, actually.
Do your best, leave the rest.
Yeah, let go and let Govinda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rahasasthali Mataji,
Yes.
please read us nuggets
Okay.
of wisdom.
Okay. Affirmation 18. I organize my life to make japa the most important activity of my day. If we don't consciously organize our life in a way that supports our japa, it's possible that aspects of our lifestyle may undermine good japa. For example, if we stay up late, we won't get up early, and rising late can negatively affect our japa. If we read a book or watch something not related to Krishna, this too could have a negative effect on our japa. If we allow ourselves to be so busy that we have little or no time for reading, puja or service, our chanting will tend to be more mechanical than heartfelt. And if we are critical of devotees, this will definitely be harmful to our Krishna consciousness. There are also things we can do that will enhance our japa. For example, giving the holy name to others, preaching and distributing books, and or performing additional austerity or service empowers our chanting. For those who work, if we are engaged in service in our spare time, rather than using our free time for activities not related to Krishna. This will also help our chanting. And if we use our time to study the theology of the holy name, or read books and or listen to lectures about improving japa, this will help us keeping us focused on the need to chant well. The idea of this affirmation is to look at our life and consider whether we are doing anything which is undermining our ability to chant well, and also look at what we can do in our life that would support better chanting. As we know, most of the 10 offenses do not directly refer to chanting, but what we do when we are not chanting. Our lifestyle, attitudes, and activities affect our consciousness. Indeed, everything we see, say, hear, smell, taste, or do to affect our consciousness. And our consciousness affects our chanting. This affirmation is meant to encourage us to organize our life in a way that supports good japa. As we become more conscious of how our activities affect our japa, we can make little changes in our life to help avoid anything that might negatively impact our japa and engage in activities that supports good chanting. As such, this affirmation brings awareness of how our lifestyle may either be helping or harming our japa. Hare Krishna.
Whoa, that was broad. The whole life. You see what I mean by, are we good kids to our parent, Krishna? This affirmation was a perfect reflection